Next, I want to talk about this section over here on the Korg ARP 2600M. You know, I haven't watched my 2600 videos from many years ago. I don't remember how I addressed this section, but I remember like I had no idea I had a basic idea, but like this was very confusing to me. And over the many years of using ARP 2600, I have finally, you know, I came to understand what we're looking at here. And it's really, really very versatile and very cool. Even though it either seems super simple or super complicated. So let's just dive into it. What it really is it's three different functions in a small space. It's a mixer, a 2-track mixer, a spring reverb control, and a panning control. And that, just put simply, it's like, that's what that is. So that's super cool. But the way that it works, I kind of feel like they went overboard on it because holy cow, nobody needs this much functionality. But it's really clever and it can be really useful if you want it to be. So let's kind of just dig into it. Okay, remember when we talked about the initial gain when we were talking about the VCA and how one of the reasons that people are like, wait, this is broken, it won't shut up. The same thing can happen here in the mixer section because of the hard wiring. We have the output from the VCA, which gives you, you know, normal output from VCA. But if the hard wiring for the other channel comes directly from the VCF. So right now we're not hearing anything because the filter's closed, but so it's getting the pure output from the VCF before it goes to the VCA. So it's just a constantly on sound. So if you're having constant sound and it's not the initial gain, it's probably because you have the VCF up. And it's really confusing because over here in the voltage controlled amplifier, the VCF part is what you want up. But over here in this weird tiny mixer, you want the VCA up. So I used to go back and forth. Wait, which one? It's the VCA, right? You know, and so it's kind of maddening. So we're not done though with this little weird mixer thing. While you can mix two audio inputs in whatever way you want and they go to the outputs, you can also cut these channels, these little mixer channels out of this and use them in different ways, which disconnects them from the output of the system. And then all of a sudden you've just got your own little channel that you can adjust the intensity of. And I thought of a fun way to sort of deal with this. Let me show you here. First of all, I'm going to take the output from the VCF and put it into this input. So now we have that thing going on. But then the fun part, I am going to take the keyboard CV and I'm going to put it into this. Oh, that's not what I'm doing. Oh, it did work though, didn't it? Even though this is an audio input, you can use it for voltage. So I'm going to put the keyboard CV in here, and then it needs to be audio for it to go to the output, of course. But when you separate out one of these channels, you can use either audio or voltage. So the minute you plug something into this jack up here, now this is no longer sent to the mixer. It's your own little attenuation functionality sitting here. So then I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it into the keyboard CV of oscillator 3, which we're listening to. Oh, you can hear that the keyboard is controlling the filter, but it is not controlling the frequency of the oscillator. So let's turn the. Oh, we got the. That's really weird. Oh yeah, what we really want is not this coming out of. We need that coming out of the VCA, not the VCF. Okay, so there we go. which it would have been doing anyway. Why am I doing that? I'm not sure. Anyway, so then what we need to do, if we turn this all the way up, we have volt per octave. If you are a person who plays in microtonal stuff, you know, everyone's always like, oh, they put a keyboard on there and then you have to play keyboard stuff and it's so rigid and it's so, 12 steps or whatever. It doesn't have to be. This is designed to, like so many other synthesizers of this era, it's designed to allow you to change the relationships between the notes on the keyboard, so you're not stuck with a traditional, the traditional diatonic scale or, chromatic scale. You don't have to do that. We could even invert the scale so you're actually, the high notes are on the bottom with this thing. The keyboard becomes whatever you need it to be as a controller here. If we just bring this down a little bit, this is an octave. So you're hearing a fifth, but it's like it's an actual octave. So the note relationships change. And then you have, microtonal stuff as much as you want, and you can stretch or diminish those frequencies. And so basically, what we've just done is we've taken this little mixer channel out and we're using it for our own purposes. It's no longer part of the hard wiring, and we can control the amount of whatever we put into it to be used in whatever way we want. And both of these channels can be used in that way. And actually, both of them can be taken out of this thing, and you could just plug the VCA directly into this center jack here, which is basically the outcome of the mixer. So now we're just getting, we don't even need the VCA thing up. Our VCA is just going straight to where it would have been if we weren't using this mixer. So that's super cool. The other thing is that you can put two different inputs in here, mix them, and then come out of the mixer out jack and put that into where we're going here. So if you want to use the mixer as just a balance of two audio things, you can do that with the mixer out. The mixer out also is going directly into the reverb. So the next thing is that we have this panning section up here, and you have a center input, which allows you to basically pan something from the center. So that's super cool. But if you just wanted, say, the output from the amplifier to go into the left input, that would only be on the left. But you also do get some panning ability, and actually it becomes a sort of thing where it becomes you're panning within the range of the left. As you can hear, it's centered right now, but if you go all the way to the left, you're all the way to the left. If we took the output, say from, let's just go out the filter or some weird thing. You can get some really interesting outcomes. And set in the center, you've got the two different outcomes are panned left and right, even though they're both kind of coming from the filter. One of them is coming through the VCA, and you can hear the one on the right that's coming from the filter has a longer decay than the one on the left, which is coming from the VCA, so you get a different sort of experience. You can actually hear the panning happening, and that's pretty cool. And of course, you could adjust that to get different outcomes. It's too bad I'm using the same sound. I mean, we could really technically use something like this. And it moves these two inputs within the stereo space, which is cool. And then you have the left output and the right output. And if you really wanted to, you could separate things in that way, or you could, you have stereo. You have a stereo field within which to work. And so that is, of course, awesome. And yeah, so that's what all of those jacks are basically doing. And if you want to, you also, of course, have access to the spring reverb. As you can see, I only have the left channel up. You can also do, or only the right channel up. We could also do the left. Or both up at the same time. And if you want some really weird crap, you also, not crap, some really cool stuff, take your reverb output and do things like, put it into one channel of your ring modulator, because then you're getting kind of a feedback thing. And also the reverberator creates a lot more, harmonic activity. So let's see what we get nothing. That's not what I expected. Oh, I know why. So it's not very loud output, is it? There's something happening there. Anyway, that's something to what happens if we guess that reverb output is not very loud. Ooh, cool. So something's happening there. Yeah, so that's the mixer input. Interesting. Anyway, so there's a lot that can be done with the reverb output as well as the panning section and the mixer section. So that is this section over here on the right that we don't have a name for on the Korg ARP 2600M.